One product that I use a lot, probably every time I'm at the gym, and that's incredibly versatile, is a weighted vest. There are lots of brands available. Most of them use sandbags or metal plates that slip in, kind of like a plate carrier for body armor. Mine's a little different. I'll show that to you in just a second, but they're fantastic pieces of equipment. They're great for, well, cardio, heavy cardio. They're great for stairs, the rower, treadmill, anywhere where you can add extra weight to your body and do a cardio exercise to make it more difficult. It's perfect for that. It's also really great for calisthenics. I've never used it for that. I've got a buddy who's really into calisthenics. I'd like to get him to give it a try to see what his take is on it and see how he likes it. You can find a lot of them, a lot of equipment you can find on Facebook Marketplace, actually. People will buy pallets of returned products from Amazon and they buy it by the category. So you can buy like a sporting goods pallet and it's all products that have been returned, they can't sell, damaged packaging, things of that nature. And people then sell it for really cheap on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. I've seen a number of weighted vests go up for sale on there. That's where I got my ankle weights actually. I got them for half price easy. So always make sure to check that out for products in your area. Okay, so the brand that I use, my particular weighted vest, I get questions about this all the time. It's the Kensui Easy Vest. And what's fantastic about this is instead of taking sandbags or metal plates, it actually takes standard Olympic plates. Let me show you. You just slip this over yourself, pardon the microphone, and then each one of these posts, front and back, you can load up with plates. There are 3 different versions available. There's a light, a pro, and a max. This is the max version. The differences between the 3 of them, you can go to Kensui's website and get a breakdown. But basically, it's this. The max version uses all metal for this plate and the posts, whereas the light and the pro both use a fiberglass composite material. Also, the posts are shorter on the light and the pro. On the max, the extra length allows you to stack 2 bumper plates, which if you're doing a whole lot of extra weight, it really helps for some incremental gains once you get over like 50 pounds or so. I really like it for that. And I don't think, I could be wrong, Kensui, I'm sorry if I am, but I don't think you can fit more than 1 bumper plate on the light and the pro models. If you're using standard metal plates that aren't coated, which most gyms don't have, you might be able to fit more. It's really well designed though. The 3 different versions, the light, the pro, and the max, they come in at $99, $179, and $299. Yes, it's expensive, but this thing is worth it. It's a tank. I've had this for almost a year and a half, and like I said, I use it pretty much every time I work out, which is basically every other day. So close to, well over half a year of use just on this piece of equipment, and I have beat the crap out of it. So it slips on rather easily. The max version also comes with metal clasps instead of a Velcro closure or plastic clasps on the light and the pro. I do have issues with these, which I'll discuss in a little bit. I have issues with them popping loose. Actually, I'll just discuss that right now. Over time, for whatever reason, these are really, they're really solid and high quality. I don't know if these rivets need to be hammered a little more or something, but what I wind up doing, and I don't think that I'm bumping these buttons, I don't think that's the problem, but what I do just to have some extra security, take a piece of this heavy paracord that I've tied a loop in with a slip knot, and I wedge it between the release buttons there, and then tighten it down so that way you can't push those buttons now because there's that paracord in place. So that just gives me a little extra security, because I've been on the rower before. I'm going crazy on the rower and suddenly just one side decides to go bing, and it's like, oh great, now I gotta stop, reset, get everything put back together. It's a real pain in the butt. So I do have some complaints and some issues with this product that I'm going to go over, but really, in the grand scheme of things, for such an awesome product that's so versatile and so well built like a tank, my complaints pale in comparison to how fantastic this thing is. Things you can do with it beyond cardio, there's some extra features here. It's very well designed. This threads off, and each one of these posts on the front and the back, they're reverse threaded, and they unthread from the plate. So if you want to take, say you're going to do weighted sit-ups on a sit-up board, but you don't want to have that post on your back, well, now you can take that one off and you can just load up the front. And then vice versa, if you're going to do like, planks or ab roller work, you can take off the front peg, front post, and just have the back one in place. I don't really do that a whole lot, so mine are kind of hard to unthread, but yeah, that's certainly an option. It's super well designed, very fine threads, so be careful when threading that back into place. Like I said, they're reverse threads, so lefty tighty, righty loosey on this one. And there you go. All right, so what are some of my issues? Well, the first one, honestly, is the padding. When you're going up to about 50 pounds, the standard padding on the max is sufficient. If you go over that, it really isn't quite enough. And so what I wound up doing, they do sell an additional padding kit, if you will, that has thicker foam, but I had a couple issues with that. First, I just figured with the amount of weight that I wind up doing, I mean, I'll load this up to 100 pounds every now and again, and I just feel like I would still squish that foam and it wouldn't disperse it quite enough. So what I did is I got some cheap football pads off of Facebook Marketplace, cut off the shoulder flaps, and then just kind of layer those over. And I've got Velcro to hold each of the shoulder straps in place. And that's another issue that I have. The shoulder straps without the football pads are almost too narrow. See, and they kind of, they cut into my neck. With the football pads, it pulls them apart a little bit and disperses the weight much better around my shoulders. And that hard plastic in the vest, which doesn't come with the accessory padding kit that Kensui sells, I feel like that extra plastic disperses the weight better over my shoulders. So I can't say that I've tried Kensui's extra padding, but for 30 bucks, I can't go wrong. The other problem with the padding, PU leather. They use PU leather lining for the back of the Max vest. You can see it's this nice, smooth, silky smooth. Now the problem with PU leather is it's essentially plasti dip over fabric. And once it gets wet, over time, this was after 4 or 5 months of use, and when it gets wetter, if you clean it, you can see, peeling right there. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it just peels right off. So thankfully, I emailed the team at Kensui. Customer service was fan-flippin-tastic, and they sent me out brand new padding to go on this. But then I realized, wait, if I'm going to use the football pads, I don't need this padding anymore. So I wound up not even using this padding. I do keep it on hand for if I want to let somebody borrow it, because I don't think any normal person wants to wear my stinky, really sweaty football pads that I wash every 2 weeks. So I keep these handy just for people who want to borrow it, which is every now and again. Um, so yeah, there's that issue that I mentioned of these buckles popping loose. They're really well designed, but for whatever reason they do. Um, and the Kensui team, once I showed them what was going on, they sent me out a replacement male part of the buckle, which actually wound up fixing the problem for a while. And now it's just starting to do it again, and I hope it doesn't get worse because I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm not sure if they're going to keep being nice and replacing them for me or not. I'm perfectly willing to buy replacements because, like I said, this thing is just that good. Another issue I had over time, again, I've had this vest for a year and a half now, and I've put it through its paces. The paint peels off. I think it must be powder coated. It seems like to me. What I really think they should have done is used an epoxy or polyurethane paint, sort of like it's the stuff that they use truck bed liners, only minus all of the rubbery, abrasive stuff. If they just sprayed it with that, this would have lasted a whole lot longer. I'm probably gonna have to redo it after a while. I mean, it's only that much on the front. The back is just starting, and it's starting to pop and peel. You can see right in this corner, starting to peel off. And that's because, honestly, I sweat a lot. I really do. And even if I keep it dry, you know, being in contact with sweat, even during my workouts, it's just over time, it's just going to peel off. The paint, of course, on these pegs, because putting the plates on and off, of course the paint's going to wear on that, which is totally expected. And I actually don't mind the kind of, worn patina look that these get. That's completely fine with me. I'm just kind of bummed about this paint here that's peeling off. Another minor issue, these slides here that adjust the shoulders, you can see that right there, they're rusted. They're not stainless, they're just painted. Like I said, I sweat, and everybody sweats at the gym, and that's a bit of a problem right there. And the last problem, these spin-on collars, they're super thin. Look how thin that is. And those threads that it has to fit into, if you look inside there, they're very thin threads, and you can see right here on this collar, it started to crack. See if I can get the light right there. You can see it's cracking. I don't know if you can hear that bing bing, but that thread is beginning to split. Focus. Yeah. So if they'd made these thicker, that probably wouldn't be a problem. I believe they sell replacements of these, and they're not much. I think it's like $10 or something. Totally worth it. So if they made these a little thicker, that'd have been better. But so I did have a laundry list of complaints, which, having had this for so long, I've had experience with it and in order to amass a laundry list of complaints. But honestly, the complaints, like I said, they really pale in comparison to how amazing this product is and how versatile it is. So if you can afford it, I absolutely recommend it. I recommend getting a weighted vest in general, especially if you're going to be doing heavy cardio. A weighted vest is almost indispensable. You can find some, like I said, on Facebook Marketplace. I think I saw one for $40. So not $299. But if you can afford it, if you can swing it, man, this thing's worth it. Go in halfsies with a friend of yours. You're probably not going to both be using it at the same time, and certainly going halfsies with it is worthwhile. Do you have a weighted vest? What brand has anybody out there actually used or seen a Kensui vest? Or am I the only weirdo out there who's got it, who's constantly getting questions about it because it's an awesome product? So what brands do you use? Do you prefer a different, with sandbags in it? I just see that there's a flexibility issue with that, and being able to load up with Olympic plates is just a whole lot better. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you got any other questions, something that I didn't cover in this, I can always do a follow-up to address other questions, other, thoughts about it. And so yeah, let me know.